research project. If I could, I'd make trying to enjoy the research project a requirement. Keep that in mind while you're choosing your topic. Well, you do have to get my approval, but I can be flexible a little bit with the parameters of the project as long as it's something you're excited about.
I'm so excited.
A good idea when you've decided what general area you'd like to research is to frame your topic as a question. This both allows and really encourages you to write a paper that's analytic. A common question, which I think is a little misguided, is do I want you to argue for a particular conclusion, or do I prefer for you to write a balanced paper? The answer is neither and both. I encourage you to come to a conclusion, to be extremely opinionated, and to set up the structure of the paper as an argument to convince your reader. In order to do that, you need to be aware of the arguments of those who disagree, and you need to treat those arguments fairly. That lets you write a stronger paper. If you caricature your opponent's arguments, you won't convince anybody. But if you respect your opponent's arguments, treat them fairly, don't have to pretend you agree with them when you don't, then you can use evidence and logic and your sources to show why your reader or viewer should agree with you. That's one reason why you need to have at least one source from the perspective you disagree with. 4 total sources is an absolute minimum. You can get all the details on the source requirement from the website, but I do want to add something about scholarly sources. What are scholarly sources? For our purposes, I would consider any journal article that comes up when you search from our library's website and click peer-reviewed journals, or any book you can get me to agree. I'm going to require that you use them, but my real hope is that you fall in love with them and become convinced yourself about how useful they are. An obvious reason is that professors like them. Most college professors at big research institutions spend their time writing journal articles. What this means is you ought to be able to find perfect sources, sources that are right on the topic you are researching. No matter how specific your topic is, if I've okayed it, some professor has done research on it. If you're not finding sources that seem really, really good, make use of the college's resources. Ask a reference librarian or ask me. Once you've nailed down really good sources, it's going to make the whole rest of your research much easier. I'm not concerned with whether you use MLA or APA or some other style of citation. I am concerned to know where you're getting your information from. Anytime you present information that is not in common knowledge, you should cite your source. You'll save a lot of effort or grief later if you keep track of where all your information is coming from right from the start of doing research. Make sure you know when you're quoting or when you've paraphrased, so you can make sure to paraphrase later or let your reader or viewer know on those rare occasions when you do want to use quotes. Probably the most important thing to remember during this project is anytime you feel you're beating your head against the wall, please let me know.